Aloha, it's Ron Margolis with eXp Realty and the Margolis Team on the beautiful Garden Island. And I'd like to welcome a couple other of my team members and introduce them to you today.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Kat Owano Mobley. I stay Lihue side of Kauai, and I love working with buyers.
Aloha, this is Bailey Hutton, and I handle the transaction management side of the team.
In today's video, we're going to be answering the question, how will the real estate market on Kauai be different than it was in the last Great Recession of 2008? We're all painfully aware that the COVID-19 pandemic is causing both human and economic damage. It's heartbreaking. Buyers and sellers are asking us, what do we think will happen to the real estate market? Well, with regards to real estate, the good news is that in 3 of the last 5 recessions, property values actually went up. And in the 4th one, it only went down 2%. And here are 4 reasons why this economic slowdown does not necessarily equal a housing crisis. First, during the housing bubble, it was difficult not to get a mortgage. Take a look at this slide with the Mortgage Credit Availability Index. The higher the index, the easier it is to get a loan. The lower the index, the harder. Today, we're nowhere near the levels seen before the housing crash when it was very, very easy to get approved for a loan. But after the crash, lending standards tightened a lot. In fact, since this pandemic and the volatility in our stock market and in the lending market, criteria for loans have gotten even tougher. So when buyers are qualified to buy today, they're solid buyers, and if they're shopping right now, they're serious buyers.
Another factor affecting our market will be inventory. We don't have a surplus of homes. We have a shortage in the markets around our median price, which is close to $600,000. A normal real estate market has approximately 6 months of inventory. Anything more than that is an overabundance and causes prices to depreciate. Anything less than that is a shortage and will lead to continued appreciation. You've heard it all before, supply and demand. And in many areas of Kauai, despite over a month of all of us staying at home and being mindful of our governor and mayor's requirements, our housing demand still outpaces the supply in certain markets around the island. That's a formula that may keep prices from dropping.
That's correct, Kat. Another difference from the 2008 recession is affordability. Now, affordability is determined by 3 things: the price of the home, the income earned by the buyers, and the mortgage rate available at that time. In 2008, prices were still high, wages were lower, and the interest rate hovered around 6%. Okay, so now prices are high again, but income is up, and most importantly, the interest rates are almost half of what they were 13 years ago, hovering right around 3%. The bottom line, look at the affordability graph. Today, the average family pays less of their monthly income toward their mortgage payment than they did 13 years ago.
Finally, look at the ratio of equity that Americans have in their homes. Homeowners are equity rich, not tapped out. In a run-up to the housing bubble, many people use their homes as ATMs, and many learned a painful lesson by doing so. Today, consumers are treating equity in their home much more cautiously. Over the last 5 years of appreciation, over 50% of the homes in America have greater than 50% equity. In 2008, prices dropped rapidly, and some people were underwater. That distressed housing market brought prices way down. Certainly here on Kauai it did. But with the equity homeowners have now, they're much less likely to walk away from their homes.
So, should you be buying now?
Great question. If you're already in escrow and you're buying for the long term, the answer is yes, especially if you're financing the purchase. With inventory having been in such short supply for so long, and with interest rates at historic lows, around 3% as we recorded this video, it's hard to predict what type of slowdown we may have in Kauai's real estate market. Certainly March and April sales don't really tell us much, as those are the closing of sales that started before all this pandemic affected our lives. It's likely that interest rates may start to climb as the economy starts to recover, and anything you might achieve from a savings in the lowering in price could be offset by a rise in the interest rate. Remember the 1% rule, which states that for every 1% increase in rates, you lose 10% in buying power. When Kauai was first quarantined on March 25th, economists were predicting a V-shaped recession. That opinion has morphed a bit over the last several weeks, and now the consensus is a U-shaped recovery. So what we know now is that housing is in a much stronger position than it was in 2008. It's no longer the center of today's economic slowdown. On behalf of the Margolis team, I'd like to say a hui ho, please stay well, and we'll talk to you soon.